Good afternoon, YouTube. This is Tire Metalhead Weatherman. I hope you guys are having a good Tuesday. Got a little bit more to we got plenty more to talk about here. I know yesterday's video was a little bit chaotic because forecast models were acting a little bit wacky, but looks like I took a look at it today before I started this video, and things are starting to make a little bit more sense. So things should be a little bit better and a little bit smoother today. As always in these other videos, I'm going to ask, like what I'm doing, drop me a like, comment, subscribe, share. We're trying to get this algorithm up, trying to get the viewership up, trying to build up this channel. There's a lot more fun things I want to do with this channel, but I need you guys' help to do it. That being said, let's go into the Storm Prediction Center where we're looking at an upgraded threat now. We have an enhanced risk for severe thunderstorms tonight, and this is towards an area that I was suspicious of yesterday, towards the panhandle of Texas and into the southern plains. It's a very small enhanced risk area, and the increased threat is mainly in turn for damaging winds. Tornado threat here is really minimal, to be honest. Maybe towards the far southern end, and you can even see it on the overview here. We have a few kidney beans that have popped up here. I'll have to watch those real close. The main tornado threat, even though it's still not a very big one, is up towards the north, towards Wisconsin. There's already been a tornado watch issued, and it looks like some storms are starting to fire within that region, so those will have to be watched real close. As of right now, we have no tornado warnings there. We also have a severe thunderstorm watch in our enhanced risk area, pretty much for the entire panhandle of Texas and all the way down towards the Texas-Mexico border. Excuse me. So we'll highlight tonight's threat, and then we'll take another look at tomorrow, and then actually get to go into Thursday's threat tonight. So look at the tornado threat. Oh, they have upgraded this to a 5% area now. I didn't see that earlier, but we got Stockton and areas to the south that might have a 5% chance of a tornado within 25 miles of a given point. 2% threat is just a little bit further north, but pretty much surrounds the same area around Fort Stockton. Then around not Minnesota, but Wisconsin towards Milwaukee and Green Bay, we have a 2% risk for you guys, La Crosse as well. And then right in between this little area here, there's that 5% area that we're looking for increased tornado threat. And this is the real reason the enhanced risk has been issued. We have a threat for not only a 30% chance of damaging straight line winds above 50 knots, we have a hatched risk as well, which is indicating an area where we could see winds greater than 65 knots within some of these storms. This stretches from south of Midland, just north of Fort Stockton, and stretches just to the east of Amarillo, includes Lubbock and Midland and Abilene. You're just outside of this. And then the threat, of course, increases as we go. The threat towards the Great Lakes region, Green Bay, Milwaukee, and La Crosse. Later, that's a 15% area, and then the 5% area stretches as far as even central Illinois and Indiana, includes most of Michigan as well, and some parts of Minnesota and Iowa as well. Same thing with the hail threat. Both of these areas have hatched risk. Pretty much anywhere from La Crosse to Green Bay, we'll have to watch that really closely for hail greater than 2 inches. And then pretty much right around where our tornado threat is towards the southern plains and Fort Stockton, we'll have to watch that for significant hail. Other than that, we have a 15% and 5% in the same areas where we have the wind threat. Quick look at day 2. We have a very similar setup. Maybe a little bit further to the west this time, I would say. Now we have more of Iowa in play. We have most of Minnesota is in play for this severe weather threat, especially around central Minnesota. Minneapolis, you're in play, and Fargo, South Dakota, you're in play. Then we have Norfolk, just outside of the slight risk. Then west central Kansas, you guys are in play. Some parts of Colorado, even some parts of Wyoming and North Dakota, even the far southeastern corner of Montana. You guys are in a marginal risk. Then mostly New Mexico is in play here for severe weather. If this brings rain to some of these areas, that would be a great thing. We just don't need the severe weather and the lightning. That's my biggest concern for these areas. Tornado threat's really small around the southern plains, but towards the central and northern plains, or southern northern plains, if you want to call it that, that's where tornado threat is highest at the moment. We'll have to keep an eye on that and see if it upticks. Wind threat, most of that is going to be to the north. And the hail threat, there's two areas where we have high lapse rates and we will have a higher likelihood of significant hail. Right around the southwestern portion of Texas and into the southeastern portion of New Mexico, and then just on the southern end of this 15%er here, where we have Norfolk, Sioux Falls, and just to the east of Pierre, that's where we're looking at a increased threat for hail greater than 2 inches. And then, of course, the day that everyone's been looking at, look at day 3, pretty big enhanced risk area. Hopefully this does not uptrend at all. If anything, I would love to see this downtrend. A lot of major cities in play here. We got Grand Forks, Fargo, Aberdeen, Sioux Falls, and Norfolk. All of you guys need to be careful. And Omaha is actually in there as well. Lincoln, you're just on the line of that enhanced risk. So I'll have to watch that really closely over the next 24 to 48 hours. But you guys are in line for potentially an enhanced threat of severe thunderstorms and tornadoes even. All hazards seem to be possible with this. We'll go into the parameters a little bit later into the video. But slight risk, we also have Minneapolis is actually in the enhanced. But we got Des Moines. If you're not in the enhanced threat, then Lincoln, you are definitely in the slight. And then that's really about it for the slight risk. But we still can't rule out areas like Minot, Bismarck, and Garden City, Wichita, Liberal, Woodward, Amarillo, Lubbock, and Midland, and just to the east of Fort Stockton for a marginal risk of severe weather. So just be weather aware of these next 24 to 48 hours. Start thinking about getting your plan in action. So going over these next 72 hours, let's take a look at what the radar could look like tonight. I'm actually going to take a quick look here, see if this latest HRRR is finished loading. It hasn't. We'll go back one more. Let's try to give you guys the most up-to-date info that I can get my hands on for you. So we'll take a quick look at the radar for tonight, though. So it's not really picking up on too much around Wisconsin, which I kind of find odd. There's already storms starting to fire there. You might just have to take a look at the NAM 3 kilometer, which we'll have to anyway. Let's see if this has a different look. We have our storms that are popping up here, right around the southwestern panhandle and towards south central Texas, where we're gonna originally be looking for a slight tornado threat, and then we'll watch this form into a line of storms, even though the HRRR isn't showing it, for damaging winds. And that's the end of that model run. So now we're going to go to the NAM. We're going to take a look at the low-level jet here. And you can see things starting to spike up around here around the late evening and heading into the overnight hours. Not really picking up on much as far as the sounding is concerned so far. I might just be clicking in the wrong areas as well. It's kind of hard to do this with the low-level jet thing without actually looking at reflectivity. Here we go. So marginal severe. Reverse curvature, so tornado threat's pretty minimal. That's good news. So we'll move this along. Low-level jet really starts to pick up on the overnight hours, but I think by then the tornado threat's going to be almost zero. Into the morning hours, we'll watch this low level jet pickup around and into the evening hours on Wednesday. We'll look at this low level jet pickup around here, which is going to be the reason for our increased tornado threat. Look towards the southern side here. That's usually a favorite spot, and there we have it. And this is around the early afternoon hours. This would be a peak time for daytime heating. Both instability will be at its highest, temperature will be at its highest, as well as the dew points. We're sitting in the low 60s in the dew points and the temperature of 83. Very impressive, very solid low level shear and the curve on the hordeograph. So tornado threat definitely reasonable at this time. We'll watch it. I only expect this low level jet to pick up as it normally would over the overnight hours. That's just always that's almost inevitable. And then we kind of shift towards more of a traditional severe threat, kind of looking like we have all three hazards possible around this area into the overnight, into the late evening hours. There we go. So then I think the damaging wind threat will start to pick up later into the overnight. I don't think there's going to be any severe weather for that area into the nighttime hours. Then on Wednesday, or Thursday I should say, business starts to pick up around here. And we have marginal tornado threat. Temperature almost near 90, which is absolutely insane. And then dew points in the mid 60s. This far north, that's crazy. And then we're looking at the Cape values. Cape values are off the charts. Almost flirting with the 4,000s here. Absolutely crazy. So move this along further. Comes a damaging wind threat, and that's the end of our model run. So now we're going to take a couple quick looks. We're going to take a look at the dew points, and then we're going to actually take a look at what the NAM has to offer for us. Yesterday it let me down, but I think today things should make a little bit more sense from the look of things. We're watching this plume of moisture just continue to hang around the Central Plains and into the Ozarks, the Ohio Valley. It's going to be very muggy where you guys are. Just pretty much the next 72 hours, which is going to be crazy. Meanwhile, over towards the south and east, there is talk of maybe a tropical entity, a cutoff low that may gain some tropical characteristics. We'll go over that more tomorrow. But I'm going to be really interested in that because that could mean a potential landfalling tropical system around the southeast this weekend. Could hamper a lot of plans. I don't expect this to be anything magnanimous, but we'll have, of course, with any tropical system, we'll be watching it really close. Last thing that we're going to be doing now is, of course, taking a look at the reflectivity. Alright, so let's get a better look at tonight because we didn't really see too much from the HRRR, but of course that was an older model run as well. Perhaps this newer model run will do better, but unfortunately I'm hard pressed on time actually today. Yep, and that's a little bit more of what I would be expecting from the models. Here you can even see it towards the Texas-Mexico border. Big line of storms right here on the northern fringe of that low pressure. Marginal severe threat. Temperature near 94 degrees. Dew point nearing 70. Into the late night hours. That is insane. Trying to get a good idea of what these storms up towards the northern handle are going to be like. So far, it doesn't show much anything for the severe threat. I partially disagree with that. And this is the second time I've seen that look too, where we have that high pressure pop up, right? Where we have that high pressure pop up. Let me go back a little bit. Like, what in the world? That is such a weird look. So then we go, so now we're heading into Wednesday afternoon into the evening hours, and here are our storms towards northern Nebraska. This is a point of interest for me, and there, lo and behold, there we have it. There's our first tornado threat of the day. Nothing magnanimous, but we do have a supercell signature with this as well, so that's really interesting. Dew point near 74. Look at that. And then into the overnight, this kind of starts to transition towards a damaging one, maybe a quasi-linear type threat. This will be moving more towards the north. That's Wednesday, and then into Thursday, our low pressure is pushed to the north and east a bit, kind of meandering around. We're going to be watching on this eastern flank here for more severe weather, and towards the southern flank. Big line of storms pops up. Definitely thinking another quasi-linear type event with a little bit of a tornado threat. And what's interesting here, there's two low pressures. There's two areas of low pressure here. We have one that's stronger to the north, and then we have one a little further to the south. So I think on the northern and southern ends, the wind shear might be a little bit more favorable for tornadic activity. I have to watch that real close. That low pop disappears. This low hangs around. It may even push this this bow echo as far east as Wisconsin, maybe even towards Green Bay. It'll be interesting to see what tomorrow's model run will look like. But that's all I got for you guys today. We'll have even greater detail tomorrow as far as Thursday's threat, and then we'll get a better idea of what's going on in the tropics, because we have two tropical waves to talk about. But that will be for tomorrow. Until then, this has been Tire Metalhead Weatherman. You guys have a good Tuesday.